Happy game day, Boston Celtics fans. It is finally the day for the NBA Finals to start. We've had a huge break in between the Eastern Conference Finals and now the championship, but the wait is over. The Dallas Mavericks are currently in Boston, Massachusetts, getting ready to take on the Boston Celtics tonight at TD Garden. Do not worry, we will be live tonight starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Come join us. But if you guys are wondering, the Celtics right now are the favorites to take Game 1 at home in TD Garden. All right, so ahead of tonight's game, I have one question for you guys. Predict the score of the Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Obviously, I'm taking the Celtics to win, but I'm expecting it to be a high-scoring type of game. So I'm going to go ahead and predict 131 to 126. That's my score. Comment yours down below. And then Smitty and I are going to get into our top 5 keys for victory on offense for Game 1 and our top 5 keys for victory on defense on the back half of the show so Celtics can start this series 1-0. Tyler, Smitty, everybody, thank you so much for joining me here. All right, so Smitty and I are going to break down our offensive keys to victory. Number 1, Smith, I'm starting off with Tatum needing to score early because we have seen this all regular season and a little bit in the postseason where he's playing hero ball. He's trying to make the offense work, which he does need to do, but I need that selflessness to kind of go out the window a little bit and just score the damn ball.
I agree to a certain extent, and you have here Tatum needs to score early. I wholeheartedly agree with this. Tatum's been good scoring the basketball aside from outside shooting, and early on in this game we're gonna know whether or not it's gonna be Jayson Tatum's night shooting the basketball or not. If his first 2 3 balls go in, I know this actually happened one game against Indiana, and then he ended up still going like 2 for 9 or something like that. His 3-point shooting hasn't been great. But if those first 2 threes go in, Jayson Tatum finds himself with confidence and in a rhythm that can carry him through the rest of the game. And Celtics fans can essentially eliminate that worry if Jayson Tatum is coming out firing early and obviously connecting on these shots.
Well, on the other hand, that kind of falls into our second offensive key to victory here is the fact that you're going to have to aggressively attack the rim because we know that Tatum's 3 ball hasn't been falling, but it's not just Tatum's 3 ball that I'm necessarily a little bit worried about here. It's the fact that the Dallas Mavericks defense really tries to force any offense to try and shoot in transition. They very rarely allow them to come around the rim and make something happen and lead to a foul. And I love when Jaylen Brown starts off extremely aggressive and just finds that gap and takes it to the hole. That's my favorite that I have seen Brown be on offense this entire post-series.
Now, the good thing about attacking the rim in a series like this, yes, you don't have necessarily the greatest on-ball defenders in Luka and Kyrie.
Right.
But those guys on the wing, Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington, they have become very good on-ball defenders. Now, not to get too far ahead of ourselves here as far as what's going on with Kristaps Porzingis, but what he does for this Boston Celtics team is he spaces the floor. Al Horford does to an extent as well, and there are some lineups that they used in the March 1st game against Dallas where they had Porzingis and Horford kind of match their bigs. What those guys can do is spread the floor for Boston and draw those bigs for Dallas out to the perimeter, which inevitably makes it easier to attack the rim and get to the cup. I think the Celtics need to do that because Dallas needs to respect Kristaps Porzingis. They need to respect Al Horford from outside. Al Horford was taking 8, 10, 12 three-pointers a game against Indiana.
He got hot there one game, though, for 7.
Absolutely. I think there were multiple games where he shot the pill efficiently, and the Mavericks are going to have to respect that. So drawing those defenders out to the perimeter is going to allow Boston easier opportunities to get to the rim, which we've seen over the postseason. It's get to the rim or shoot the 3 ball, and I think getting to the rim is going to be something that Boston's going to want to do with those defenders out on the perimeter.
Well, like you said, KP is going to be the key here to allow them to either attack the rim or to really be able to make a lot of offensive moves happen here. And this is where I'm kind of a little nervous about just Game 1, Porzingis, because we haven't seen him in 3 series, so I'm not sure what version of KP we're going to see, and I think we'll really be able to tell within the first quarter. But I don't think you should be afraid to use Kristaps. I think if Joe Mazzulla decides to start KP, put KP in, you better play with Porzingis as if he never suffered an injury. And that may be a little tough. It may be a little scary. I understand that. But if he's in that ball game, he has signed up to take on the aggressiveness of the NBA Finals, which is why I don't want them to try and move around Porzingis or not run what they used to with KP in the game.
Yeah, with him missing a month and just dropping himself into the NBA Finals, I don't anticipate Kristaps Porzingis to necessarily be this otherworldly force that completely changes the game or sways it in Boston's favor early on. Like you said, we're going to find out within the first quarter how ready, how close to 100% that Kristaps Porzingis is just on the way he's moving. I don't think that three-point shooting or outside shooting or scoring the ball in general, unless it's dunking or something of the like, something at the rim, is necessarily indicative of what Porzingis we're going to see over the next 5, 6, 7 games. I think, yes, there could be shooting rust. It's just overall going to be coming down to movement and as well as on the defensive end. We'll get to the defensive keys to victory eventually as well. But in the first 5 minutes, we're going to know what Porzingis looks like. Yeah. And if he's looking good enough to where he's going to be playing 25, 30, potentially 35 minutes a game in this series, you got to use him to your advantage because he's the ultimate X factor.
Exactly. And when I wrote down limit turnovers to the offensive keys to victory, this isn't something I've actually really been worried about with the Celtics so far in the postseason. I do think that when they do turn the ball over once, they do go on this little stint of constantly turning the ball over. They
fall into a trap.
Absolutely. So when I do see at least one turnover happen, I know that within the next 5 minutes of gameplay, there will probably be 2 or 3 more to follow. So I know that that's coming. So I think once that turnover happens, whether it's Pritchard bouncing the ball accidentally out of bounds, whether it's Drew Holiday just making a stupid pass and completely throwing it to the other team, I just think that when you limit that turnover, because you're going to turn the ball over, when you do hit that one and you get back in transition, don't make it a habit and don't freak yourselves out to be like, oh shit, now we gotta go faster. Now we gotta make it even messier. Just stop it from that one and limit your turnovers.
I agree. And you mentioned transition. The Mavericks they're most effective when they're creating live ball turnovers and they're scoring in transition. The Celtics, no doubt about it, are a better half-court offense than the Mavs. The limiting turnovers, yes, you want to keep it low. The Celtics have kept it low throughout the postseason. They're one of the best teams at taking care of the basketball in the NBA. But the live ball turnovers is really what you have to key in on here because the Mavs, when they are running, they are fantastic. They'll take it to the cup. They'll find a shooter on the outside, and they'll score in that regard. The Celtics need to get the Mavs in the half court, so if they are going to turn it over, hopefully it's not live ball. This is the issue that they faced in 22 when they lost to the Golden State Warriors. The turnovers just piled up, and they piled up, and they piled up. And the Warriors were a good enough offense at that point, a well-oiled machine that was able to make the Celtics pay for it. And if you need to limit turnovers, just hopefully it's the ball going out of bounds or a stoppage, because if the Celtics fall into the trap of live ball turnovers and letting the Mavs run down the floor on them, it could get messy.
That's where they'll start to dig themselves into a hole, which we have seen time and time again. The Celtics are not that great with a shovel. But the good news is that the Celtics are actually kind of easy to predict once the game gets going because they do have certain techniques that do help them win ball games successfully, as they had the best record in the entire NBA all season long. But if they find that 3-ball, that rhythm very early on, it's going to be a good game, Smitty.
I mean, listen, the Celtics are going to shoot 40 to 50 three-pointers.
That's a given
in this series.
Right.
And listen, the Mavs have not faced a team with the three-point shooting ability. Yes, OKC was the best team three-point percentage-wise in the NBA this season, and they did beat them in 6. But they weren't the highest volume. They were actually in the lower half, I believe, of volume shooting threes in the regular season. So Boston is way up there at the top, and they've made it their mantra to spray and pray, live and die by the 3-ball, and they have the most effective 5-out lineup to do so. So yes, you have to find that 3-point rhythm with Jayson Tatum. You got to find it with Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Al Horford, Drew Holiday, Pritchard. Hopefully Sam Hauser comes alive.
Oh, God.
I know, but yeah, if they get in that rhythm, I don't think, shooting the basketball from distance at a 36, 37% clip and above, the Celtics are going to win this series. I'm very confident in that.
I'm hoping the Mavericks have not prepared for Al Horford to possibly drain 7 threes as well. I like that little sneaky aspect to Horford's game. But defensive keys to victory are coming up here in the back half of this show. But I just want to overall say what the Celtics are in for right now going up against the Mavericks. It's going to be a high-scoring series. I'm extremely excited for that as well. The Celtics know what they need to do on offense. They have one of the best offensive teams in the league, and now it's time to get it done. All right, so before we get into defense, let me go ahead and tell you guys real quick here about PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. I'm playing it. Smitty's playing it. Here's why you guys should too. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. And look, if you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every single week. I love Taco Tuesday. I love Flex Friday as well. And you could turn $10 into $1,000 in just a single game watching your favorite sports all summer. Here's my lineup. This has been my lineup. I already locked it in multiple days ago here. I got Jayson Tatum to have more than 1 point. That's it. That is PrizePicks. That's a promotion offering you pretty much a free entry. Plus, he's also a star player. So if I win this entry, they're actually going to pay out a lot more. Luka Doncic having less than 31.5. I don't think he's got it in TD Garden for game 1. Porzingis to just come out here and spray the 3. More than 2.5 3-pointers made. Here are my PrizePicks. Feel free to copy them or go on ahead and make yours. All you guys have to do is download the app today and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. I promise it's that easy. What's not going to be easy, Smitty, is defending the Mavericks offense. I do think that the Celtics have a better offense than the Mavericks defense. But the other way around, it's going to be a battle the entire series. So the #1 thing I saw against the Pacers that literally pissed me off to the nth degree, and what sucks even more is that they did it against the Cavs, is they gave up second chances.
I totally agree with this. I think that securing rebounds is going to be a massive part of this series. Now, you get Kristaps Porzingis back in the lineup, but I'm not necessarily pegging him as a elite rebounder in this league. Yes,
he was never your top rebounder, right?
Yeah. Jayson Tatum is still the top rebounder on this team, which is crazy, but he's playing out of his mind on that end. But allowing second chances is going to it just makes the Mavs so much more deadly when they have such high efficiency shot makers like Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. The kick out to the perimeter is going to be a problem if the Celtics can't secure defensive rebounds. Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington even Luka Doncic down there securing a couple offensive rebounds. I think that's going to be an issue, and the Celtics have to put bodies on bodies and be able to box out and just secure possessions, because possessions is what dominates basketball.
Right.
It goes so fast. There's so many possessions now today. You have to make them count.
I truly do believe that if the Celtics out-rebound the Mavericks, they will win.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I 100% think that should be their #1 aspect on their game plan right now is clean the glass. But the other thing is that they do still have one of the best players in the world, which is Luka Doncic, and that is an understatement, right? The fact that this man is almost averaging a triple-double, and he's been dealing with ankle sprains, knee sprains. He hit his head in a very tough game against the Timberwolves, and he's still putting up a triple-double. But Smitty and I were talking about this, and you have to make Luka work. Luka loves getting his points right off that pick and roll. It gives me very much a Tyler Hero type of vibe in the way that he is going to have some type of screen set for him and then start to find his rhythm. But Luka is going to score. That's a given. Luka's going to rebound. That's a given. And he's also one of the best playmakers in the NBA. So if you make him work not only on offense, a little bit harder to find that shot, but if you also work him on defense as well, he's going to get exhausted.
Yeah, this is where Jaylen Brown really comes into play. And yes, Drew Holiday will probably match up on him as well. They'll probably platoon Tatum sometimes on Luka as well. You know Luka's going to get his numbers. He's going to put up 30, 10, and 10. Mm-hmm. He'll probably average that for the whole series. They'll probably be calling him like the LeBron of 2015 if the Celtics do end up winning this series, thinking about giving him Finals MVP even in a loss. But Luka, you know he's going to get the numbers. You just have to make him work. You have to tire him out. You have to make him just go 110% physically on every single play. You got to make him work.
Period.
I don't think that there's any way you're going to limit Luka to 25, 7, and 7 in this series. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to make him work for that 30, 10, and 10, and just make it difficult on him.
I also think that kind of goes in here with the can't get caught in the pick and roll is because we know Luka loves to have a little bit of protection there when he is going to try and drain that basketball here, and the Mavericks are phenomenal at the pick and roll. And I'll tell you what, there were several instances throughout the playoffs right now that I saw Derek White and Jrue Holiday misreading their matches. They're not switching on the screens. You've seen Tatum get stuck. You've seen Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench. Sam Hauser is one of the worst. You cannot get stopped by the pick and roll. They will dominate you if you end up not being able to take that over.
Yeah, and this all has to do with communication because you can't blitz Luka just blindly. You can't send blind double teams because he's going to find the open man, right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes even the Mavericks send double screens. Actually, pretty often they send double screens up at the top of the key for Luka Doncic. And the Celtics have to be able to communicate that and make sure all their ducks are in a row defensively so that, if Luka sees one bit of space, he's either pulling or he's finding the open man. So pick and roll defense, the Celtics have not been great at it this postseason, and the Mavericks have been great at it offensively. So you have to do your best here, communicating on defense and making sure that you're putting yourselves in positions for easy buckets for the Mavs.
And here's where it also scares me is that let's say they do start to figure out this pick and roll, but here's what I'm afraid of is that miscommunication, like you said, will allow somebody like Derek White and Jrue Holiday to accidentally both be on Luka, and then boom, PJ Washington is wide open with a corner three, and Luka's going to see that. So when they are shooting the best right now from the corner in the playoffs, they're averaging a made 4.6 three-pointers from the corner a game. They're dominating. I'm a little bit worried that Luka is going to know that they're going to be preparing for that pick and roll to defend Luka, and they're going to outlet pass to a corner three that's wide open.
Yeah, I totally agree with this because, like you said, they're the best corner three-point shooting team in the playoffs right now, right? And part of that is PJ Washington, Derek Jones, they've actually gotten a ton of wide-open looks in the corner.
Yeah.
Teams have actually dared them to shoot from the corners, and the Mavs have made them pay. I don't think the Celtics, and this can kind of go hand in hand with our final defensive key to victory, is slowing down the Mavs backcourt. Yes, you can't stop them. You got to slow them down. But as far as the corner threes go, the Celtics have, in my opinion, the most equipped roster, most equipped five you can have on the floor to defend Kyrie and Luka one-on-one and not have to essentially help too far off of a guy like PJ Washington or Derek Jones Jr. in the corners and just be able to guard guys straight up and just take your chances with it.
And like we said, slowing down the Mavs backcourt, of course, that does include the very fast Kyrie Irving. When Jrue Holiday was asked, how do you slow down Kyrie Irving? He said, pray. So we know what is coming here with Kyrie Irving, with Luka in that backcourt, but that's going to be the Celtics' biggest test here. I do think they have several options to constantly switch on Luka and Kyrie, which is going to make it a lot harder for Luka and Kyrie to be able to score because they're dealing with a different defender upwards of every 5 possessions. So I think the Celtics have the resources in order to stop the Mavericks' offense, but nonetheless, it's going to be a battle for the next possible 7 games.
If you look at, and just quickly before we head out here, if you look at the teams the Mavs have played here in the postseason, you got the Clippers, you got Paul George, who you could throw on Luka, a couple other guys. They didn't really have guys to defend Kyrie, and that's why he kind of popped off in the second half of that series. Kyrie, by the way, is the highest scorer in the second half of the postseason because I don't know if you guys seen his first halves. They're pretty brutal. He kind of goes missing in some of them. But he's been very, very good in the second half. The Thunder had probably the best on-ball defender for Luka Doncic in the entire NBA in Lou Dort, just due to size and quickness. Obviously, his defensive intangibles as well. But then you get to the conference finals, and you have, sometimes Rudy Gobert is getting switched on to Luka, or Jaden McDaniels is too small, really, to match up with him physically. And then from the Kyrie standpoint, you got Mike Conley, who's 38 years old, trying to check Kyrie for most of the time.
Hey, don't be hating on 38-year-olds.
Hey, I guess I can't age discriminate due to our situation, but Anthony Edwards did a pretty good job on Kyrie, but he was doing a lot of his energy left on the offensive end of the floor, so eventually things broke down for him. The Celtics have the best crop of players to defend these guys one-on-one and platoon them and have them on and off and just make life difficult for 48 full minutes.
I mean, it's almost like Brad Stevens many months ago put together the most perfect roster to face the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. But that first game starts tonight. Thank you for sitting through our very lengthy Game 1 preview. But hey, man, it's the Finals. We got a lot to say. And if you guys have a lot to say, come join us tonight on our watch party for Game 1. We're going head-to-head with our main channel on Chat Sports, and we're going head-to-head with those crooks, Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein with Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. We need all the help we can get, like this video, if you guys are coming to join our watch party here tonight. And as always, hit that sub button for me. That way you guys can join in on the conversation with myself and Tyler Smith. We're going to be live tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's go Boston Celtics. Let's take Game 1.